Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Lauren, and on this channel we talk about books, and today's video is one that I always love doing each month. It is an anticipated releases for the month of April. I cannot believe that spring has sprung and we are in April 2026. My goodness. So I do have my computer here with me. I do have a little list already that I have gone through to kind of weed out the books that kind of spark my interest. And surprisingly, this month, there really isn't that many. I think maybe there's 10, like at most. So today's video should be short, simple, and sweet. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The first book I've got my eye on this month is The Rites of Starling. This is book number 2 in the Shields of Sparrow. I think it's just a duology. I don't think it's a full-fledged series. I could be wrong, but I feel like this is just a duology. This is by Devney Perry, which is a pen name to... People think it's Sarah J. Maas, but I don't know. I don't know about all that. I feel like Sarah J. Maas is busy enough with her actual name, but who knows. The next book I have on my radar for April also comes out on April 7th. It is the deluxe edition to Bloodsinger. This is the second installment following Firebird. This book was really, really good. I really did enjoy this first book. I did listen to it on Audible and it was absolutely delightful. So I am really excited. I do own the deluxe edition to the first book. I think I got it in like one of the book boxes that I received in the mail, and I will definitely be purchasing the second book. I think these books are beautiful, and from what I can kind of already gather is that the sprayed edges will kind of tell a story, so that way when you have the complete collection and you have them all next to each other, it's going to be very like cohesive, kind of like a visual representation of the story on the pages, which I just love. I think that's really, really cool. The next book that kind of caught my eye is We Welcome Darkness by Grace Morrow. This is a vampire story, and I will read you the synopsis via Goodreads. It's like kind of kitschy, kind of cheesy, but also I feel like, why not? You know, it says, Thalia, Princess of Agrippa, has spent the last 4 years hunting her ex-lover, Cassius, the man who shattered her heart and betrayed her kingdom by becoming a vampire. Vampires and humans have had a tenuous past since Thalia's father and sister were murdered 13 years ago. But when Agrippa's ore supply, the lifeblood of human cities, is running out, Thalia's mother strikes a desperate and dangerous deal. Thalia will marry a vampire prince in exchange for their ore. Thalia is blindsided by the arrangement and horrified to find Cassius, now serving as the prince's hand, is the man tasked with bringing her to the vampire kingdom safely. To save her people, she agrees to the marriage, but plans to dismantle the vampire kingdom from within by killing the prince. Caught between duty and desire, Thalia must grapple with her feelings for Cassius and decide if she will fulfill her duty to the human crown or embrace the darkness within herself to protect both realms. I just think that sounds really good. Like, I'm sure it's gonna be, depending on how it's written, it could be really cheesy or it could be really, really good. So I'm excited to find out which one it is. The next book I have on my list is Honey in Her Veins by Ruth Michel. It says Arthur Conaway desperately wants to free himself from the monster inhibiting his mind. Instead, he is rapidly losing control of it following his mother's death. In a last-ditch effort to feel whole again and to lay his mother's memory to rest, Arthur decides to return to the quiet bee farm he once called home, hoping their sacred honey can heal him in more ways than one. 8 years ago, Ava Moreau's flora magic caused a terrible accident, harming her father in the process. Now, she's desperate to find a way to heal him, but her attempts only seem to do the opposite. If she could just learn to control her magic, she might be able to save her father and leave the past behind. When Arthur returns to town looking for absolution, Ava once again loses control of her magic, putting everyone she loves in danger. Together, the pair decides to track the source of her family's magic to find a cure for both Arthur and her father. But there is a mysterious ghost haunting the forest, and it won't let Arthur and Ava leave the woods without confronting the secrets of their past. I think that sounds really, really good. I love a familial bond, and we obviously have two people that may have once loved one another or at least had some type of romantic relationship and have since in their adulthood gone their separate ways, and they come back to each other and, I don't know, help each other through their adulthood crises. I just think that sounds really, really good. I love all the tropes that the synopsis are kind of hinting at, so I think this is going to be a good book. The next book I have on my anticipated releases, also expected to come out on April 7th, is The Wicked Sea. I will say I did pick this book for my L'Oreal Book of the Month, so I will be receiving this book in the mail within the next week or so I'm very excited. And it says, in this dark and sultry romantasy, a mermaid battles hatred and lust for the wretched warlock who saved her life. Mermaid Zephira of the Sill dreams of freedom. On the run from a dangerous captor and years of abuse, she's shed her tail, grown legs, and hidden herself on land in the marrow-loathing kingdom of Mortia. Left to steal and barter on the dirty streets, but her freedom is short-lived when she's caught and sentenced to death by a brutal warlock, Arion Stone. Arion is as beautiful as he is cold and deadly, only interested in punishing the marrow he views as evil. He has grown as strong as any warlock might, but at great personal cost, which can only be remedied by the heart of the god of death, lost to a fabled kingdom beneath the ocean's treacherous depth. So Arion offers Zephira, there's a Y in there, so I think it's Zephira, a deal she cannot refuse. Help him find the mystical heart and he'll spare her life. With no other option, Zephira agrees, entangling their souls and forbidden desires in a magical bargain until death do they part. But Zephira's past is catching up to her, and the enemy she fled seeking vengeance. But Zephira's past is catching up to her, and the enemy she fled seeks vengeance. If Zephira and Arion can't learn to fight together and trust each other, there are worse things awaiting them than just death. Ooh. It says, of course, in the Wicked Sea, everyone has secrets and no one should be trusted. So this next book I'm really intrigued by. It is called The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark, which is a pen name for Kat Clark and V.E. Schwab. I love me some V.E. Schwab. I don't think I've ever read a Kat Clark book. That author's name does not ring a bell, but I do love me some V.E. Schwab. So this is the synopsis of The Ending Writes Itself. It says 6 authors, 1 private island, 72 hours to write the ending that will change their lives. It says Arthur Flench, one of the world's best-selling novelists, is a reclusive genius known for his iconic protagonist and fiendish twists. When 6 struggling authors are invited to spend a weekend on his private Scottish island, they arrive to discover a shocking secret. Arthur Fetch is dead, and his last book is unfinished. Desperate to publish the novel, Fletch's agent and editor have summoned these writers in the hope that one of them will imagine a worthy ending for this final book. To sweeten the deal, they are offering an irresistible prize. In addition to ghostwriting the last chapter for a mind-boggling sum, they will also help the lucky writer successfully relaunch their own career, guaranteeing future bestsellers. The catch: the writers have just 72 hours to finish Fletch's magnum opus. Magnum opus. Okay. It's the perfect plot. All it needs is a killer ending. Love that. All right, we are moving on to April 14th, and we've got Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. It is October 2026. Oh, so it's the future? Okay. Lee Turner doesn't remember how or why he killed his college roommate. The details are blurred and bloody. All he knows is he has to flee New York and go to the one place that might offer refuge: his father's new home in Japan, a house hidden by sword ferns and wild ginger. But something is terribly wrong with the house. No animals will come near it. The bedroom window isn't always a window, and a woman with a sword appears in the yard when night falls. October 1877. Sin is a young samurai in exile, hiding from the imperial soldiers in a house behind the sword ferns. A monster came home from war wearing her father's face, but Sin would do anything to please him, even turn her sword on her own mother. She knows the soldiers will soon slaughter her whole family when she sees a terrible omen: a young foreign man who appears outside her window. One of these people is a ghost, and one of these stories is a lie. Something is hiding beneath the house of sword ferns, and Lee and Sin will soon wish they never unburied it. Ooh, just reading that synopsis literally gives me chills. Like, I literally just got chills. I think that sounds so freaking good. I just feel like this would be something I would really enjoy, and it's got me all types of excited. So I'm definitely going to pick it up. Another book coming out on April 14th that I'm super stoked about is The Thorn Queen. This is book 2 to The Rose Bargain. I just read The Rose Bargain, I want to say the beginning of March, I'm pretty sure, and I loved it. I thought it was so phenomenal, so great. I'm actually not going to read the synopsis for The Thorn Queen, because if you have not read The Rose Bargain and you are planning to, I don't want to spoil anything for you, because the synopsis that Goodreads provides does kind of have like a header where it kind of like recaps the Rose Bargain. And anytime you read the synopsis for like a recurring book in a series, you always kind of get little sprinkles of what happened in the previous book. So I don't want to do that to you guys, especially if you plan to read The Rose Bargain. And if you haven't, I definitely recommend, if you're into fantasy romance. It was really, really great. I 10 out of 10 enjoyed that book. Alrighty, another book coming out on April 14th is called The Auction. It is book 1 in the Wages of Sin series. This is by Sadie Kincaid. If you know anything about Sadie Kincaid, she writes dark mafia romance. So if you're into that, she's coming out with another one, and it says the queen of dark mafia romance brings her new explosively sexy Wages of Sin series with The Auction. Beauty and the Beast meets organized crime in this tense, slow burn romance with scorching spice, thrilling suspense, and life-altering secrets. Need I read more? That just sounds delightful to me. Okay, the next book that I have coming out, well, I don't have it coming out, but it is coming out on April 23rd. And that is Resonance by Ketley Allison. And it says, he was sent to hurt her. He never expected to hunger for her. At 23, Verily Holbrook awakens to forbidden soul magic far too late and far too violently. A dead cat claws its way back to life, and the boy who witnesses it doesn't. Hunted for her crime. This doesn't make any sense. A dead cat claws its way back to life, and the boy who witnessed it doesn't. Does that imply that he's dead? I don't know. Hunted for her crimes, she's captured by Falcon Reeves, the Academy's cursed elite. He's ruthless, unbreakable, and bound by a hunger that mirrors her own growing darkness. Falcon's orders are to take Verily to a fortress of monsters, veil rifts, and soul-forged atrocities. Tasked with dragging late awakeners like her to a place that breaks or buries them, he's meant to deliver her unbroken. Instead, he guards her secrets, stokes her power, and craves the one thing he shouldn't, her soul. As void monsters tear through the veil and the Academy's brutal trials loom, Verily's bond with Falcon ignites into something deadly. Enemies by fate, lovers by curse, every touch edges them closer to ruin. Every bargain demands blood. In a world where power casts souls, desire might cost everything. In a world where power costs souls, desire might cost everything. Resonance is a dark romantasy drenched in soul magic, deadly trials, and a love forged in blood and void. Perfect for fans of morally gray heroes and heroines who refuse to be broken. That was kind of a tongue twister of a synopsis. I must say. I do love the cover though. That looks really nice. And I do think that the book sounds fabulous. So I'll probably be picking this one up as well. I feel like this might be something I read on my Kindle. You know? I mean, we love a good Kindle read. So I just don't feel like I need to have this book on my shelf. But I do want to read it. So there's that. Okay, and last but certainly not least, coming out on April 28th, we have an Arcane Study of Stars by Sydney J. Shields. The synopsis is pretty short, so I'll just go ahead and read it really quickly. It says, Claudia shouldn't be here. When she was rejected from Cygnus, her dream occult university, she was supposed to live out her life as the wife of an old man, a pawn sacrifice for her father's debts. But her celestial magic is rare enough to attract a desperate demon named Dorian. And when he offers her a bargain, acceptance into Cygnus in exchange for his freedom, she accepts. As she unravels the mystery of Dorian's prison of stars, the only thing standing in her way is the handsome, cruel, academic star of Cygnus, Cassius MacLeod. What begins as a fierce rivalry develops into something deeper, darker, and dangerously sensual. Now caught in the center of an ancient curse, Claudia must decide who she can trust and who she must kill. Okay. Alrighty guys, well thank you so much for watching today's video. That does it for the April anticipated releases. I don't know why, I just feel like I couldn't find very many this month. So if there are any books that are on your April radar that I did not mention that you feel like I just need to be aware of, please let me know down in the comments. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!